Boop boop ba boom ba dum bum. Boop boop ba boom ba dum ba da dum da dum da dum ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop ba boop da ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop beep boop ba ba dum bum. Boop boop ba boom ba dum bum. Boop boop ba boom ba dum ba da dum da dum ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop ba boop da ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop beep boop ba ba dum bum. Dum dum da dum dum da 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 dum dum da dum da dum dum da dum dum da da dum dum da dum 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 da dum dum da da dum dum da dum da dum dum da dum dum da da dum dum da dum 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 da dum dum da da dum dum da dum dum da da dum dum da dum dum da da dum 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 dum. Hello folks, I'm back again. It's Friday, 9 days before the marathon. Let's put this on a chart here somewhere. Down, we are now right here. Last night I did, let me see, after the last video I was debating whether I was going to run that evening. I did in fact decide to run, and I decided to take a break from work a little bit early, oddly enough, thinking that the weather was different than it was going to be. Bottom line was, I think I was reviewing the weather forecast for Pittsburgh and not for Richmond, and I ended up coming home, going out to run at about, let me see, it was 3:30 in the afternoon, bright, sunny, and 84 degrees. The bottom line was very difficult run. I wanted to run 10, even, like I said, our schedule has been thrown off a little bit. And I had taken the day before yesterday off because of the revised schedule, but that's all discussed in the previous videos. The bottom line was I wanted to do 10. I started running and it was terrible. I'll tell you, it's scary. Runs like that are scary because you feel like if I line up for the marathon and I feel like this, it's going to be so disappointing. I knew almost from the start I wasn't going to be able to complete the run. I don't know if it was the pollen or whatever, but it was hot, and I got in. I did a little more than 3 miles. In fact, I did right about a 5K, and I just gave up. I came home and I took a nap, and before I took a nap I ate some soda crackers and some basically some Cheerios and with no milk. Probably about I probably ate about 1,000 calories there. Up to that point in the day, I had decided that I was going to do the 10-mile run. So instead of my normal 2,300 calorie limit, I had, up to the time I actually stepped out there to run, when it was 84 degrees, I'd probably eaten about 2,400 calories. Now, normally on it, like I said, I'm still trying to lose a little weight. Normally on a 10-mile day, I'm going to allow myself, even though it's at least 3,000 calories. Well, I had only eaten 2,400, maybe that had something to do with it, but like I said, I only finished a 5K, not 10 miles. Came home, ate some Cheerios, ate some soda crackers, a little bit of turkey, went and I took a nap. I was dead tired. I don't know if it was the pollen. That's another thing. Hay fever is going to throw. It's a different environment up there. I don't know what the allergies are going to be like up in Pittsburgh. And I'm going to have to remember to take some allergy medication. But the bottom line is that I took a nap for about an hour and then went back out, and maybe an hour and a half the nap was. But the bottom, and then I had a telephone conversation with somebody, and then went out for a run. And by this time I had probably consumed about 3,200 calories for the day. Went out, and I'll tell you, I was almost like Superman. So maybe the problem before, earlier in the afternoon, wasn't just the heat. Maybe it was my body was still depleted and craving calories. Looking at myself, like I said, I'm afraid to get on the scale for reasons I stated the last time. I don't want to psych myself out. I think I am losing just a tiny bit of weight, but one never knows until one gets on the scale. But the bottom line is that they're calling for rain here today, and if it rains, what I'll probably do, I'll have to think about this. I may go ahead and tough it and run, which is probably what I should do. On the other hand, like I said, I get a better cardio workout on the stationary bike usually than I do actually running. But you can't replace running because, like I said, you've got that shock absorption aspect on your legs when you run that you don't have when you do a bicycle. So in any event, the schedule calls for 5 or 6 miles today. I don't know if I'm going to run it or if I'm going to do it on the bike. If I'm a betting guy, I'm going to say I'm going to do it on the bike, but one never knows. I'll probably do 5 or 6 again tomorrow on Saturday, and then Sunday I'm scheduled for 13. And that will put us exactly 7 days before the marathon. But you know, I guess the point that I'm making in this video is diet, how you fueled your body, temperature, even the pollen, and maybe if you're taking any antihistamines or something, all that naturally is going to have an effect on your run. I did last night. I did 6 miles last night. I wanted to do 7, but I realized I didn't count quite right. And when I finished, I thought I had done close to 7, but I adjusted and it was closer to 6. But I was moving last night, so I'm not too upset that I didn't do that last mile. But in any event, I've got to mosey on here, but thanks for joining us, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks. Hey folks, Dave Lentz with reasonandbalance.com. This is what I ran in tonight. It's what is today? Today is it's Friday evening. I believe it's April the 26th. It's Friday evening. 9 days to go to the marathon. I did 6 miles tonight, so in our little thing, it has me doing 10 tonight, but I did 9 last night, and I did the 6 tonight. I'll do 6 again tomorrow, and then 13 on Sunday, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to do next week. But it rained today, and I used this opportunity to run with a poncho on, and I have a different one, but this one I wanted to see if it worked. And it was 58 degrees while I was out there running. Wind was about anywhere from about 7 to about 13 miles per hour. Kind of chilly, oddly enough. So I ran in this. I ran all 6 miles in this with just this. Wearing this, and it was chilly. I mean, I couldn't run in just this without that, given the temperature of the wind and the rain. The rain was sporadic. not really that heavy, but I didn't get overheated with the poncho on, so I consider the poncho to be a success. And I have a poncho that's a little bit, that comes in a package that actually fits in my pocket. Now, a couple of days ago when I looked and I did the forecast for the Pittsburgh Marathon, they were forecasting temperatures between 55 and the low 70s with thunderstorms, a 60% chance. And so the importance of being able, for example, the one I have that comes in a package like this, it's different than this one, but it actually fits in the pocket without even having to fold it over. And so that's kind of nice. And it's actually, that's the reason I'm not going to take that one, is because this thing is a little bit too big. But that's going to work out quite nicely if the thunderstorms remain in the forecast. They have been removed. You know, I actually, several weeks ago, actually bought this thing. And it's designed to basically repel the water, but it breathes a little bit. You know, if you write me, I'll let you know who the manufacturer is of this. But I wore it and I ran in it a couple of weeks ago, and it actually worked. But the thing of it is like if the temperature gets a little bit, this would be, for example, the Shamrock Marathon in Virginia Beach is in the middle of March, I believe. You know, this would, and if it was going to rain all day and be cloudy all day, something like this may be something that would work under those circumstances. But I'm going to have some sun and some fair weather in addition to the risk of thunderstorms that was in the forecast until this morning. I wouldn't want to wear something like this because I can't take it off and stick it anywhere. You would basically have to dispose with this or somehow find a way to tie it around your waist, I guess, which you could do, I guess, if you wanted. This is pretty heavy. I guess you could do that and find some way to do that, but to me that's pretty cumbersome. It's possible for the race. This is dry fit. It's like I said, it's that I was talking about in the last video, I believe. I intend to put my race number on my pants, not on my shirt, because it's likely that in the morning, especially down there on the river, the Three Rivers, it's going to be a little windy and it's going to be a little chilly when we line up to start off. And so it's quite likely that I will have this. And this is like one of my favorite garments because it really works in the winter and in the early spring. It's getting to be too late. You couldn't wear this if it gets above like 55 or 56 degrees with no wind or anything like, well, above 60, say. But for a while, you can wear it fairly flexibly because it does. You can do this, and this helps cool you off naturally, and that works. But I suspect that I would not be able to wear something like this once the temperature gets above 62, 63 degrees. Actually, probably into the 60s at all for me. I'd probably have to take it off. I probably could wear it for a mile or two, but I'm going to take it because if we do get rain and it gets cold, and I'm not there on the course, I don't know, you know, when you get that, when you're burning that much energy, you don't need a lot of warmth. But if the worst happens and I have to slow down and walk, I could get cold relatively quickly. Although the forecast is calling for the low 70s right now, they're claiming it's going to be overcast. I expect I'm going to be out there between 5 and 7 hours. So this ties nightly, and this is very non interfering, and and I've worn this when I've run before, and it works just fine. So I would say that it's probably 50-50 whether I'm going to take this, but so I almost look at this as a good luck charm and a security blanket. I think that I probably feel less naked, it would give me a little bit of a boost of confidence to take this, I think. And confidence, marathon running is very psychological. Let me readjust the camera here for a second. We'll get this. I think my goal here in these 4 days, like I said, we've had to alter because of nursing small minor dings and injuries. The last couple of weeks we've gone to a 5-day week. Last week, this week's likely to be 4. Maybe I'll run on Monday. Maybe I'll run on Tuesday too. I might end up doing a six-day week. But I do want to have at least 2 days off for the marathon. Probably on a very small run on Thursday. Incidentally, here in Richmond, Virginia, on Tuesday it's supposed to get to 88, and here like 86 and 86. It's going to be hot next week. Tomorrow, which is Saturday, this day, oddly enough, the temperature is supposed to range between 58 and 74. That's exactly the temperature range for the Pittsburgh Marathon on May the 5th. And so I'm going to try to get out there and run when, when the conditions are pretty much like what the marathon is. Like I finished this run, the 6-mile run tonight, about 2 hours ago. It's 11 o'clock at night right now. I finished it about 9 o'clock. Just some ideas. This is a hat that I typically run in, and as you can see, what I've done here is I have, it's orange, so if you're running in traffic that helps. But I've cut these slits in it to dissipate heat, because this happens to be a polyester hat, and that's very hot, unfortunately. But this hat is deep, and in the wind it stays on very well. So this is a candidate for me to wear during the marathon. Haven't decided yet. I've got just a one of those sun visor things, but I found it. It has like a spongy front that is really hot, and it's no cooler really than this is. At least that's the way I feel about it anyway. But I'm gonna, if I wear a baseball hat, which is very likely, I'm probably going to do something like this with whatever hat that I wear, so it'll dissipate the heat a little bit better. Okay, bandages. Don't forget to bandage your nipples before you run, and take that along on the trip with you. So I have dental work caps that I've been having some trouble with, so I've brought some stuff. I brought for tooth pain and to put the cap back on if I have to. I wouldn't ordinarily mention this, but I've had trouble with this, so I'm just more or less doing that for me to make sure that I remember to take it on my trip. You probably don't. You probably have better teeth than I do. Allergy relief. This is a big issue right now. A lot of sneezing going on. My car was green this morning, and Pittsburgh is just a little bit behind us in terms of the season. I imagine that they'll have a lot of pollen in the air, and living up there anymore. You go to a new area, you may have new allergies that you didn't have before. So taking allergy relief. I don't really need these. Thank goodness right now, but these are callus things. Chapped lips, especially if it's windy, it's a good idea. And I have these strips here, these Breathe Right strips. I find that, if I was faster, I might actually wear one of these during the race, but this really isn't an issue for me. I mean, I'm not taxed, I'm too slow. My cardio is really not taxed on the longer runs. It's all a question of my legs, especially my hamstrings. What's going to happen there, whether I finish this race or not. But these are these Breathe Right strips that you put over your your nose. Anyway, so we're getting to the point where we're going to line up on this thing, and I want to thank you for visiting, and we will see you next time. Thanks. Hey folks, it's Dave Lentz, reasonandbalance.com. Let's see, this is the evening, let's see, it's about 9:30, April 29th. It's a Monday evening. The Pittsburgh Marathon is this coming Sunday, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. Pittsburgh start time is at 7 a.m. in the morning. Every time I look at the weather for Pittsburgh on May 5th, the weather gets a little bit better. Now, this is Monday. Sunday, which was yesterday, the weather conditions were, temperature-wise, were substantially like what we're supposed to get in Pittsburgh, with the exception that Pittsburgh is supposed to be a little cloudier. But I went out and I ran yesterday in basically mid-70s type weather. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, however, and I ran on a course, very, very hilly course that I used to train on when I was much, much younger. One of the reasons why I chose that course was because there are two very big hills. One of those hills is probably about, if you put it all together, probably about 5/8, maybe even maybe even 3/4 of a mile long, and right at about the 10.5, 11 mile mark at the Pittsburgh Marathon, there's a long incline. You have to go over, I think that's called the Birmingham Bridge, and then you go up into Oakland. So I wanted to sort of get prepared for that. I had done more hill work in my my training, but recently I've done more flat work, and long story short, I started getting dings, and one of the reasons why I got dings was when I was doing hill work and doing a lot of stuff on a particular stretch of road that had a lot of, you know, the road angle on the side. I always felt like I was running on the side of a hill. So I sort of got away from that to try to get my legs heal a little bit, and so that the downside of that has been I haven't done as much hill work lately, so I wanted to go out yesterday and do that. But I wanted to run 13 miles yesterday. Where are we? We are right here. This would have been yesterday, and this would have been today, this off day. But as I've explained in previous videos, because of dings, right now my week runs starts on Thursday, which would have been right here. And how did it go? The bottom line was I ran 9 here, I ran 9 here, and I ran 2. I ran 1.6 and 1.5 in here and here's. And so 15, 20, 29. So I was at 29 miles today when I started, and I couldn't figure out what to do. I had to, it was significantly cooler and overcast today. I wanted to run further yesterday, but I just could not do it with that sun out like that. And you know, like I said, training for a spring race is different than training. I've never trained for a spring race before. I haven't trained for that many races, but every time I've trained, it's always been training during hot weather, and then when we ran, it was cooler weather. So in a sense, it was a lot easier running conditions. You know, this is the South, this is Virginia, and I've done a fair amount of running during the summer, but normally it's usually later on in the day when the sun's up, you know, it's about ready to set. And it could be, you know, in the low 80s, and that would be okay. But it's a lot different when the sun's directly overhead and beating down on you, and it's warming up the pavement. which is what I encountered yesterday. So I went out thinking I was going to do a 13-mile run. I ended up only doing 9, which was disappointing. Did conquer those hills without too much trouble, thankfully, so that was the good news, including I wanted to get some downhill, because that big hill, that 3/4 of a mile hill that I went up, I had also run back down it. That was the home stretch, because I believe the last part of the Pittsburgh Marathon is there's a stretch of significant downhill, so I wanted to get ready for that. Anyway, so I was disappointed, so then I wanted to sort of try to make up for it a little bit today. Much better running conditions, overcast, temperatures in the basically in the low 60s, a nice breeze, high 50s, low 60s. Finished about, I guess about an hour and a half, no, yeah, maybe 2 hours ago. I did 11 miles, really tight. The first 8 miles were fine. I actually even had a little bit of speed going. The last 3 miles were really, really tight. My legs felt terrible. But then again, I've done 20 miles in the last 2 days. I'm not used to doing that. But I really want to get 45 miles in this week, which means I have, normally I like for my extra long run to be the last run of the week, but I was expecting an important phone call today, so I tried to sandwich the run into a certain period of time. You know, this is, you know, you got to earn a living. And so my training this time is this right here, which I've shown in all the previous videos, which is short and long, short and long, short, extra long. That's the way it goes. Run 6 days a week. I've really, since I reached my weight objective up here about week 3, then I had that problem with a weight gain. I've been off with, you know, minor injuries. It's just, so sticking with the program, I get a D. I think I have 3, maybe 4 45-mile weeks, and I would like to get 1 more in because you know, my training has been sporadic. I think I've been dedicated to trying to stick with the program. As you get older, if you do get injured, I've been super sensitive about that. If you do get injured, I mean, it could take weeks to get healed, and that would kill any chance of running in the race. And I've had problems before with injuries training for anything. So anyway, but I did run 11 today, and so tomorrow, which is Tuesday, oddly enough, I am scheduled for 5 miles, and I think I am going to do that. But tomorrow, guess what? It's going to get up to 88 degrees. So there is a chance that what I'll do, I looked at the temperature is supposed to only be like 85 tomorrow night or something like that. I may, I don't know, my legs feel really crappy right now. I may just get on the exercise bike and do an hour on the exercise bike instead of this. Take this day off and then do probably a 5K right here. Where this 2 is, 5K right here, which is Thursday. Take 2 days off. Do a 5K here, 2 days off, and then the marathon. You know, I guess the biggest thing here is I don't like to make excuses, but because of my concern about I have this paralyzing fear of getting injured because it takes so long to get healed, is that my legs feel funny all the time, even when I start the race. If you'll notice that semi-humorous video of me running and at the beginning of this video of me running around the corner and then at the end running away, oddly enough, that is the way I will look probably at the end of the marathon and at the very beginning. It normally takes me a half a mile to really get my body to where it even wants to run. When I took the video of me running, it's really, I hadn't even warmed up, which was kind of stupid. As a matter of fact, when on the shot where I'm running away, one of the reasons why I look sort of strange with my gait, was sort of a weird gait, is I sort of was trying to prevent pulling my hamstring. So anyway, it's a mess. But anyway, so I wanted to say, maybe in supplement, some more stuff. Oh, I've decided to take some safety pins to remember to have something to put my number on with. I don't know if they have some other device to help to adhere the number to your clothes. In the old days, you had to have a safety pin, 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. I got to remember to take both my room phone charger and my car phone charger. I'm going to remember that. And remember to take scissors, although my flex tape, it's easy to tear. I've decided that I may, during the marathon, put a few allergy pills in my pocket, a couple of ibuprofens, and some jelly beans. And maybe that'll be my quick pick-me-up. I don't know if there's a better idea than jelly beans. That's sort of my latest, greatest. But the phone chargers are very important. Because I am going to take my phone with me when I run the marathon. Because if I break down and I need help, I might have to call somebody. So, what else do I have here? Handkerchief. Yeah. Got to take a handkerchief. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the allergy situation. I think I talked about that in the last video. Anyway, so there are now really only 2 training sessions left, one which will be tomorrow night, and then Thursday, which is probably going to be a 5K, if not something shorter. And so for all intents and purposes, training is over, and it's on to Pittsburgh to get this thing going. I may or may not do another video. That remains to be seen, but hopefully I'll have good news to report. My objective, quite frankly, is just to finish the fricking thing. I get, at first I wanted to finish in under 6 hours, and my training went so smoothly to begin with. I was so happy. I was even able to do 12-minute miles for like 7 miles, but it's like it's almost like I've gotten slower during this process. Maybe some people have said maybe I've overtrained, maybe I'm just getting old in the process, and my legs are just yelling uncle, but this is going to be a supreme challenge physically to try to complete the entire thing running. I put my odds of being able to do that as being less than 50-50, significantly less than 50-50. But I certainly want to complete the marathon within. I want to go as far as I can running. But the most important objective I have at this point is just to finish the thing in 7 hours. I don't want to get to the point. What I find is if I exhaust my legs, well, first of all, if I pull a muscle, or if my sciatica and my other leg goes bad, it's probably curtains for any chance to finish the thing. But what I've found is I'm going to have to really make a calculated guess somewhere. If I, for example, if I ran 13 or 14 miles and all of a sudden I just could not run anymore and decided to try to walk, I would not be able to walk very fast if my legs are exhausted. They just tighten up like crazy. I mean, my legs get so tight, it's unbelievable. And so I've got to sort of be smart about it. My pride was going to want me to run every step of the way, but I'm going to have to be smart about how I choose to utilize these 64-year, 10-month-old legs. Hello folks, Dave Lentz with ReasonandBalance.com. Well, finished, I did actually, it's Tuesday April the 30th. And today finishes basically the training for the marathon. I finished the sixth consecutive day of running today, and it wasn't really running. I did an hour, a 5 mile equivalent on an exercise bike. Basically, oddly enough, I was pleased with the calorie burn and how fast I went, because I did basically what I calculate out to be the equivalent of a 5 mile run. I did it in under 60 minutes, and given the way my legs felt at the beginning of the run, so to speak, I was pleased that I was able to do that. Now, that means that I had a 45-mile week. Marathoning is very psychological. I'm not saying that you can just psych your way through the entire marathon, but you certainly don't want a lot of distractions. You don't want to lack for confidence. It's good to be a little bit concerned, but you don't want to lack. You don't want distractions. You don't want to lack for confidence. And getting that 45-mile weekend, I'm not sure if that gives me 4 or 5 of them, but that's important to me. I wanted 6. I couldn't quite do the 6. There's a lot about my training that I didn't quite live up to the standard, and I'm very disappointed in that. But it may have been too much for somebody that's my age, but I successfully avoided any injury, which I very much wanted to do. I do have one more run to go, but tomorrow will be an off day for me, May 1st, May Day, and I will do one sort of don't go stale run right on Thursday. This is today. I did do the 5. Now we did an 11-miler yesterday. We did a 9-miler here, a 5-miler, a 6-miler, and a 10 and another 9-miler. I believe that's what we did. But we did 45 miles. We're going to take Wednesday. We're going to take this day off. I explained in previous videos why we're out of sync here. Basically, it's because I wanted to avoid injury, and if I felt like I was on the verge of being injured or exacerbating a problem that I had, I would take an extra day off, and it threw off the entire schedule. But anyway, the bottom line is I did do 45 miles in the last 6 consecutive days. Now we're going to take tomorrow, which is Wednesday, off. I will go to the gym and lift some weights, but no running, no cycling. Here I have, I don't know, I've been going back and forth. Like I said, marathoning is very psychological, very, very psychological. I do not like 3 consecutive days off. Why that is, for some reason, I feel really stale if I take 3 days off. And I don't want to feel stale, but I don't want to really challenge myself. I don't want to risk injury. I've thought about doing everything here from 2 miles to 5 miles. My most recent thought process was to do a 5K here, which is basically 3 1/8 miles. I think what I'm probably going to do is 2 1/4 miles. Why 2 1/4? I have no idea. Tonight, right before my run, which was really a stationary bicycle, I believe it or not, and I've never had an injury like this before, I was in my bare feet, and somehow I stepped on a large gauge extension cord, and I stepped on it in such a way that I stepped on it, like a tendon like on the outside of my foot, and now it's like bruised. And so even if I'd wanted to, I don't think I would have run tonight because my foot's sore. Now I put ice on it. I'm not worried about it for purposes of the marathon. And after all, the website is reasonandbalance.com. I don't like to become superstitious, but I am a little bit concerned, that, I want good luck, even though we don't believe in good luck. But, or bad luck. We believe in circumstances. Anyway, so the bottom line is that I'm a little bit concerned about what the temperature is going to be in Pittsburgh. The latest forecast I saw was partly sunny, partly cloudy, high in the lower, about 74, I think. Start time, I think the temperature is supposed to be about in the mid-50s. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm a native Pittsburgher. Now I haven't been there in about, well, at least 10 years, but down there by the river, down by the stadiums and downtown, down at the confluence of those three rivers, the Monongahela, the Allegheny, Orem, the Ohio, at Pittsburgh, at the point down there, it's going to be breezy. So it's going to be probably about 55 degrees, and it's going to be breezy. That's going to be, according to the training, I've arguably done enough to run the whole thing. If I was 26 or 30 years old, given the amount of training I had, what I would tell you is that I would have, especially after successfully doing it when I was younger, doing something very similar to this. And I've pretty much, even though I haven't stuck with the schedule totally, I would say that in terms of the total mileage that you see up here, I've probably done 90% of it, probably 90% of the total mileage. That would probably be enough for me to eke by if I were 30 years old, maybe even 40. I'm not sure about it. Basically, it's because my legs don't feel good at any time during the run. I mean, I feel tight, I feel my sciatica, I feel, like I said, I don't think my right hamstring is totally functioning properly. I'm not trying to make excuses. I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, but I'm also trying to be realistic, and I want to finish the marathon. So I'm going to have to figure out my tactics in terms of how I'm going to run the whole thing. It's going to be a question of my confidence, my courage, how much I'm pumped up. During the race, what I need to do is I need to try to run as smoothly as possible, less bouncing up and down. Try to just keep it sort of like this, because that's less shock on the knees and on the thigh muscles. Try to make sure that when I sort of shove off on each, on motion, there's equal pressure on both legs, because over a 26-mile period, if you favor one leg over the other too much, sooner or later your system's going to give out. You need a certain amount of balance between your legs, the force that you're employing. Try not to get greedy. Try not to get tired of being tired. That's key. Don't try to go too fast, especially at the start. There's going to be a temptation to go out there and just go for it, because there'll be probably some loud blaring music playing that's very motivational, and you want to go out and conquer like Superman. So you just basically, oddly enough, for somebody like me, because I'm not trying to win the race, it's more about actually being patient, not getting tired of being tired, and trying to always run on the flattest portion of the road. That's very, very important. If you're running on the road where there's a side slope, that will just tax your calf muscles like unbelievable. I can't do that for very long. I've got to get to the flattest surface possible. Try to find clean air. I don't want to be in crowds. I don't want to be in a position where somebody stumbles in front of me, or I stumble in front of them, especially later in the race, because quick, sudden movements left or to the right, especially once you get stiff, that's when you can pull a muscle or injure yourself. So you want clean air, you want clean space, you don't want to be in a big crowd. And you know, and I'm going to take, you know, like I said, some allergy medication, some ibuprofen with me, and probably right now I'm thinking jelly beans or maybe even lifesavers again. I don't know, but I want something. I want to try to take about 500 calories worth of goodies in case I hit the wall, which I'll probably consume at probably right around the 10 to 13 mile mark. Because I want that stuff in my system if I need it, if I hit the wall, you know, around mile 19, 20, 21, somewhere in there. I'm thinking that I need to consume, I'm going to do a depletion diet between now and, tomorrow's Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday I will diet. I'll try to keep it under 2,000 calories. Now we'll do about 2,000 calories on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, I'll probably restrict my dietary intake until probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I'll allow myself probably some sweets, in addition to some protein, and then on Saturday I will allow myself some substantial carbs, you know, pancakes, you know, if I want some spaghetti, or if I want, I don't know. I mean, there might even be a donut or two in there. I don't know, some cookies or stuff like that, and in addition to the turkey and stuff like this. But I think that I need to consume at least 7,000 calories on Saturday. That's what I'm thinking. And when I do the calculation, the marathon ought to take, if I add my base metabolic rate to the calories that, just by virtue of the exercise aspect, there's the base metabolic rate for the 7 hours of the marathon, and then there's also the exercise rate. I come up with, you know, somewhere between, you know, at least 4,300 calories, and I got to put that in on top of the 2,700 for my base, you know, my base metabolic rate. Anyway, maybe I'll do another video on how I calculated that. I don't know, but I'm thinking that I need to consume at least 7,000 calories to be carved up, and do that on Sunday. That's actually typically what I do on my feast days, and that energy basically, during this regimen here, basically has lasted me for 3 or 4 days after that. Well, for this, it's basically going to be depleted in 1 day for the marathon. That's the way I'll look at it. So my feast day on Saturday is not going to be that much different than my feast day up till now. I might just, for kicks, eat an extra brownie or two.
Bum 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 ba-dum, 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 bum 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 ba-dum. Bum 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 ba-dum, 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 bum 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 ba-dum. Bum 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 ba-dum, 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 bum 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 ba-dum. Bum 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 ba-dum, 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 bum 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 ba-dum.
This is the wrap up before we leave. We're probably, this is, let's see, this is Wednesday night. Actually, it's 12:42 a.m. on May 2nd. So I've been up trying to put this video together and putting some finishing touches on the wrap up for our training. We are scheduled today for maybe at somewhere for a 2 1/4 miler. I'm debating whether I even want to do that. I don't like to take 3 days off, but actually I'm a little bit sore in this hamstring, and I don't want to press my luck on that, so I may not run. So training may be totally over right now. If not, I'll still do this 2 miler, but I'm not going to have a chance to supplement this video, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. There's this thing called the wall, and normally that means that when all of your system has depleted all of its energy stores, there's nothing left for fuel for your muscles to continue on. It's called hitting the wall. Normally that happens somewhere around mile, we'll say 18 to anyway up to 26 for that matter. I have experienced that when I was younger, when I ran the marathon. In particular, the first time I ran it, I did complete that race, but I hit the wall around mile 19. Not a pleasant feeling. So in order to try to avoid that happening, I expect to be out in the course for quite a while, unfortunately, because I'm so slow. I've decided, unlike before, when I ran the marathon before, I didn't take anything with me. Because I'm going to be out there longer, I am going to take something. I considered to avoid hitting the wall, and I will consume this several miles before I think I'm going to hit the wall. I'll probably consume this stuff somewhere around mile 12 or 13. I've considered jelly beans, lifesavers, and this here is trail mix from a manufacturer. I looked at 2 of the more reputable ones. Well, I shouldn't say famous ones, I guess, recognized household names. The trail mix, oddly enough, is about 140 calories, I believe, per ounce. The jelly beans are only about 100, so kind of interesting. I don't know if I didn't get that calculation right. The advantage of the trail mix is according to the manufacturer, there's somewhere between 5 and 6 grams of protein in here, which is appealing to me. In terms of what I'm going to put them in, these are the shorts I'm going to wear, so put these in the pocket. See how they do create a little weight, which I don't like. I mentioned before, I'm also considering taking some a poncho, but I'm going to figure one or the other. I may make it half jelly beans and half. Well, I'm probably going to do the trail mix, actually, when I think about it. These are little pretzel-like things, and little chocolate balls, and sort of like there's like a little wafer in there. It's tasty. Anyway, so that's probably what I'm going to take. It's not like a chocolate bar. I'm a little bit concerned that this stuff may melt in my pocket. That's the one disadvantage I'm going to have to weigh. The jelly beans won't. So I don't know. I haven't decided finally, but it's going to be one of these 2 things. I'm going to just take one of them. I want about there's basically, for all intents and purposes, a little over 500 calories in each of these, which should last, that that number of calories should last me 4 miles if I need it. So that's what I want. I also wanted to consider a hat. Now, when I was out running in the sun, here it is, it was April, I got it, and I had just my tank top on, and it was about, you know, low 70s. This was about a week or so ago. I got a really bad sunburn on the back of my back. It even has bubbled up a few times when I'm in practice. So I want to avoid that if I can this time, so I've decided that I'm probably going to wear this little gizmo. I got just like a regular hat. I hitched up. We're going to cross 3 bridges. It's running on bridges, for anybody that's ever done it, it's always a windy affair. I don't want to lose my hat. So I put this thing on to basically, and do my sort of bow jest routine, have this thing back here to sort of keep the sun off my neck. Now, unfortunately, I have not had a chance to try this little baby out. I was thinking about I was going to do that tomorrow when I did my short run, but like I said, I've got a little soreness going in my hamstring here. I don't think it's anything to worry about. So I may not run tomorrow, but as you can see, it covers my neck really well, and the hat, if it blows off, would just go down my back there. So that is, but this part here bothers me here. It shouldn't, because if that happens during the race, I'm going to have to figure out a way to get the frickin' hat back on. And if I don't like the little flap on the back, what I could do is just basically put it inside the hat, and I'm glad I'm going through this because this, I probably would have to take this off and stick this baby in here like this. I could unpin it. I got 2 safety pins in here, and just stick this in here. I could theoretically run it like that with absorb extra sweat, but I'll tell you this, that would be an extra layer of material in there, which probably would make it less likely to dissipate heat. But you could, you know, a lot of times I tuck it in my pants. But anyway, that's probably what I'm going to wear on my head. They're saying partly cloudy, partly sunny, high in the 70s, low 70s, race time mid-50s. With a little bit of wind, it's going to be chilly down there. I mentioned before, it's likely I'm going to take my dry fit, and I'll wear this early in the race and then take it off and tie it around my waist. I've done this before and it's not too obtrusive, and of course I'll have a tank top on, but I'll just tie it around here. I could throw it away if I wanted, but I really like that top. It's sort of been my buddy through all my training. And the sleeves can be pushed up and they stick up here, even though it's long sleeve, so it can double as sort of a short sleeve shirt as well, which is really good. Okay, what I hadn't considered in terms of hats, because in looking, I'd even come up with, believe it or not, I was attracted to this hat because it has the mesh, which to me would be great for keeping you cool. But it's just the hat itself is just too heavy, but it's got this wide brim that would protect the back of your neck. So it's my Clint Eastwood look to run, and it has this thing here to keep on, which, like I said, it's going to be easy when you cross those bridges for your hat to fly off, is my guess. So I was sort of attracted to that, but I've decided it's a little too heavy. These hats here aren't quite as heavy. They're more like, I guess, fishermen, or I don't know, really like this one, and it's got the mesh on the side too, and it provides protection. I like this hat a lot. So I like this hat, and this is a real candidate to wear. then I came across this one. I like it even better, but the darker one has I think if it rained, would provide more protection on your head from the rain. This is a little bit lighter hat, very light hat, and it has these snaps to hold the brim up on the side, which would be great when you're crossing the bridge because the air wouldn't, get under and do a parachute type of effect. And it has the thing to keep your hat on, and it has a wider brim. I really love this hat, and I can take the snaps down, and it's like this, and this provides a lot of protection too. This is a very strong candidate, and I tried it, and if I had to, it's as you can see, you can button it up, and I could stuff it in my pants without causing too much concern. So I really like this hat. I keep going back and forth on which hat to wear, but I think that I'm a baseball hat wearer from way back, and this is more in line with what I typically wear. And actually, this comes back further to protect your neck from the sun. This is going to provide the most protection. So I would say that this is probably a slight favorite to be the one to be worn. And one reason why I didn't want to wear it was because it could blow off, and I got this string sewed to make that's more secure. So this is probably what I'm going to wear. All right. And I said I'm all going to wear a light blue tank top. It's probably this and this for my top. Okay, I think I mentioned in an earlier video what the calorie situation would be. Like I said, it's going to sort of do a depletion diet between now and probably about 4 or 5 o'clock on Friday. Race time is 7 a.m. Sunday morning. I'll consume about 7,000 calories, which is pretty much like my regular feast day on Saturday, which is my normal feast day. So that ought to be pretty much the same. And then it should be race time. One thing for people like me that are going to be on the road going out of town is taking the computer. Like I said, got to make sure I take the charger for my cell phone. And the car cell phone charger as well. It's a 300-mile trip from where I am to Pittsburgh. So I think that's about it. I'm really very, very excited, and I guess from this point on, it's on to Pittsburgh, and I'll do a post-race video, I guess, sort of summarizing either the great success or the tragedy, but I'm really happy about that we're going to line up for this. And thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Hey folks, it is Thursday, May the 2nd, and to wrap this up, I'm going to tell you what my weight is. It's 198. I knew after I gained that unwanted 7 pounds that I would have a hard time taking that off, given the amount of mileage. I didn't want to be frustrated by the weight situation during the last few weeks, and apparently for good reason. I weighed in at 198. That's disappointing because I did get down to 191. Maybe that's one reason why my running seems to be a little more taxed recently. But I'm not going to make any excuses. Of a more immediate concern right now is it's just unbelievable. Maybe it's just a stress-related thing here. I'm trying to get things in order to get out of here to go pick up. I'm going to rent a car to take to Pittsburgh, and I may have to go to the dentist, having a little bit of tooth pain. Fine time for tooth pain. It did this a few weeks ago, and then it calmed down, so then I thought, well, maybe I just chewed on something improperly. I think it's been all this gum I've been chewing, frankly. I think I did something, but anyway, I have to make a decision whether I want to see the dentist this morning or not. I get a sharp pain and I don't think it's an infected tooth, but I don't know. Maybe I cracked it or something. I don't know. So I've got to worry about that. But anyway, so we're at 198, and we're getting our stuff together right now to take to the Berg, and I will after the race I will do an assessment. I'm looking forward to it. We've been shooting for this for a long time, and in one form or another we've probably been training for this, with the exception probably of 1 year since 2012. But back then we were 280 some pounds, and 198 by that measure is not too bad. So anyway, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm in pretty much an upbeat mood. I'm in more than an upbeat mood. I'm a little bit worried, but very, 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 very excited. And regardless of how this turns out, on a certain level, it's going to have been a major league success. Anyway, I'll talk to you after the race. Wish me luck. Happy running.
Boop boop ba boom ba dum bum. Boop boop ba boom ba dum ba da dum da dum da dum ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop ba boop da ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop ba boop ba ba dum bum. Dum dum da dum dum da da dum dum da dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum 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 da dum dum da dum dum da dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum 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 da 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 dum 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 dum. Boop boop ba boom ba dum bum. Boop boop ba boom ba dum ba da dum da dum ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop ba boop da ba dum bum. Beep ba boop ba boop ba boop ba ba dum bum.